Hi, I'm Ulysses,
And I'm Henry.
And I'm James.
and this is Comics Odyssey. And today we are looking at a book, but not a comic book this time. And you'll learn all about it. This is something I found at a flea market when I was living in Vancouver. Uh, it was $5. And I pulled that out and I asked the guy, I'm like, what's this? He's like, I have no idea. I said, okay, well, that sounds good. So I gave him $5 and I took it home. And it's not a Marvel publication, despite what the cover might.
Really?
No, it's not a Marvel publication. It's Fantico Enterprises. Did a little bit of research on them. It's two guys that started a publication, uh, like a fan publication. They did six Chronicles of the Chronicles series, all Marvel, Daredevil, X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, some other one, and Annual Chronicles. I only have this one. 1982, this one was published, and eventually it became like a horror fan zine.
Oh, okay.
So this guy was pretty connected because he got an interview with Frank Miller and Klaus Janson, um, together. A monster interview that spans most of this book, actually. It's specifically about Daredevil of this era, so we're not going to cover that one until we someday maybe cover the Daredevil, like Frank Miller Janson Daredevil series. Um, but he also got amazing artwork. Joe Staton here.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Black Widow here's not in good shape. He got a whole bunch of pinup. This is
Black Widow's always in good shape. Sorry, go on.
I think this is a Frank Miller piece that's never appeared anywhere else. I believe this only published here, which is a great piece. And yeah, a few John Byrne Electra. I know, James, you're a big fan of John Byrne.
He is in my top 3 or 5 for sure.
And
You wouldn't have a Dale Keown without a John Byrne.
I believe this is a George Perez. Yeah, George Perez piece. So the guy was connected. I mean, Marvel was riding high in the 80s. They're super successful. And these guys were covering the success of Marvel. And we're going to focus in on this Denny O'Neil interview conducted by Joey Cavalieri, who was a writer and editor at DC Comics in the same era, and Mitch Kahn, which is one of the editors of this Fantico Enterprises magazine. So, bit of an anomaly of a book, but glad to have gotten a hold of it. I don't know why it says Marvel Comics Group, but
I was just going to say something about that. It's
yeah.
very odd that they would do that
Well,
because it
this
looks
is
from
the
here. I was going to say, I don't know how big it is in person, but from here, it looks, you could easily mistake it for a normal Daredevil comic.
absolutely. I mean, I might be mistaken with my research, right? I didn't find a lot on this Fantico thing online, so who knows, right? It might have been like an imprint or something. But it's also before Disney, right? And Marvel didn't have like the litigation power that it has now, right? so,
Oh,
so they might have just gone ahead and took some liberties. But anyway, excuse me.
I've
So
got a couple fandom magazines from the mid 80s, and they were really popular there for a while when I got the ones I got.
this is an interview from Denny O'Neil, who was at the time an editor at Marvel. So I don't know how much of you guys how much of this you guys read, but do you have any first impressions, like, or any particular? We don't have to go in order. I did take some notes here. Maybe some topics that were discussed in here. I thought this had quite broad appeal and had some interesting topics in it. So, anything that you guys wanted to touch on first, or?
I thought the whole thing was interesting, but I especially liked when he talked about the process between the editors and the writers, and in Miller's case, editors, writer slash artist. Very interesting to understand how they put it together, the collaboration at work.
Yeah. Well, O'Neill says he favors, specifically with Frank Miller. They just have a conversation about the story, and then he pretty much cuts them loose. Whereas other writers, they hand in, what do they call, a treatment, or
right? Yeah, treatment is the right word.
Is it? Yeah.
But by that point, he trusted Miller so much that it was, well, and I guess they were on the same wavelength, that there were rarely, according to what O'Neill said, there were rarely any disagreements about what to do. And when there were, they were rather minor.
Well, 1982, Miller has basically saved the Daredevil title, and sales are really good. So I bet you that factored into O'Neill having, pretty minimal oversight over his work. Like, it's working, so go ahead, right?
He mentions in the article that it was the second biggest selling title that Marvel had at the time, which is just outrageous.
Just under X-Men, was it?
It'd have to be. For this era, this is when Claremont was popping off. Like, everything he touched it was like its own money printing press.
So it was even more popular than Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of makes sense. What they were doing with Spider-Man at the time wasn't my cup of tea.
I also want to interject here. You guys mentioned the word treatment. That's what I always heard. This is just nitpicking because I like words, but they call it a precis. Precis.
Oh yeah, I saw that word in the article a couple of times. I wasn't sure what it meant.
In other words, there's nothing written at this point. There's no precis. There's no sketches. ...
Right. Which is kind of ironic because that's a French word meaning precise.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Well, that's why I don't know what it was. Didn't know what it was.
Yeah, précis.
Really loose precision.
Yeah. It's very imprecise precision. Yeah, there's lots going on in this interview. They do discuss kind of like the nature of the Daredevil character, which is interesting. I don't have a deep knowledge of the character. Let me just check through my notes here. One thing they discuss is the apprenticeship funnel, how to like bring people up who are new, and when you have a line of comics, maybe you have some anthologies in the line, so you kind of give the new guys a smaller story. But he's lamenting how Marvel at this point and still now no longer has a Western, no longer has a war comic, no longer has a place to put a new guy.
Yeah, no throwaway titles, to forgive the choice of words, but that's really, I think, how editorial looked at those kind of books, those kind of comics. And they don't have any left. Everything they have is like supposed to be competitive and only hire the best of the best.
Right.
So Frank Miller is one of the lucky ones who got a shot. What it comes down to. In the article, he said that he met or got to know Miller by playing volleyball with him. I don't know how that happened, but